A messy ninth inning becomes the Cardinals' undoing and wastes an outstanding effort from one of the bigger question marks in the rotation. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafron, and on today's show, the Cardinals make a trade. A press conference is scheduled for today involving the organizational leadership, but we're going to start with Tuesday night's game, which was one of the classic or boring pitchers duels, depending on how you look at those types of games. Everydayers know that I prefer a little more offense than what we got in the first 8 innings of the game, which was none by either team. But it's a game that would eventually end with the Cardinals making all sorts of mistakes in the top of the 9th inning. Things got pretty sloppy, and in the end, it ended up costing them this one. But let's start with the bright spot from this particular game, and that's the start by Kyle Leahy, who has been, I would say, kind of a major question mark for the rotation this season as he continues his transition from a reliever to a starter at the big league level. Had one of his best, if not the best start of his major league career. 6 1/3 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 2 walks, 3 Ks. The 3 hits off of him were doubles, but none of them ever came around to score. And this is a positive direction for Leahy as we get closer to the trade deadline and we continue to start to figure out what it is the Cardinals may or may not do. Many have wondered, myself including, if perhaps Leahy or Matthew Liberatore might get sent back to the bullpen. They got some issues there. You've got some guys like a Hunter Dobbins or a Quinn Matthews who could be brought up to take over one or both of those rotation spots. Thomas Govain and I just talked about this on Tuesday. It's just something to think about, creating conversation. But when faced with adversity, Kyle Leahy responded quite nicely last night. After a tough April, he punched back with a much better month of May that saw him go 2-0 with a 2.81 ERA in 5 starts. Then the calendar changes over to June, and things got a little rocky again. 3 runs in 4 innings in his first outing, 4 runs in 5 innings in his second outing. Before last night against San Diego, he gives up 3 runs in 6 innings, quality start, 7 strikeouts, but he takes the tough loss because the offense didn't show up. They get outscored 6-1. That was also the game where Roycroft came in late, and they got 3 more runs off of him. So Tuesday night was another step in the right direction for Leahy, which is what you're looking for. Back-to-back games where he has now reached 6 innings, which has been an issue this year too, right? Stretching him out, getting him through 5 into 6 innings. That's been something they wanted to address and to work on to be able to be a legitimate starter that you can count on. Got to get through 5. Got to get through 5, right? You want to get to 6 innings for sure. I know it's crazy to say that because back in the day, they used to go 7 and 8. I get it, but that's just the way it is right now. But let's not blow things out of proportion either. Leahy was also going up against the Padres, whose lineup has been awful this year, despite a lot of big names in there. And the Diamondbacks don't have a ton of firepower either. But still, positive stuff. And that's what you're looking for. Max Ratchett came on in relief after that and had his best outing. He goes 1 2/3 innings, no hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. And with your top guys unavailable at the back end of the bullpen because they got used on Sunday in that unfortunate game where the Cardinals got the win, but Dustin May wasn't able to get through to the 3rd inning. Then again, you had to use them all on Monday. Ollie had to go with Matt Swanson, who again has been better since he got recalled. He had rattled off 6 appearances without giving up a single run. Like, the guy has been good. But it all came crashing down after a 1-out single to right field on a ball that some say maybe Jordan Walker wasn't going to get to it in the first place. I believe he does. I think if he gets the right read off that ball and his ability to cover ground, I think he gets that ball, and that's 2 outs. But instead, it falls in front of him because he lost it in the lights. Crap happens, all right? This is not bashing Jordan Walker. Crap happens, okay? But it opened up the floodgates because as soon as that happened, now you got a runner on instead of 2 outs and nobody on, and Arizona starts piecing some things together. And they got plenty of help from the Cardinals to score those 4 runs in the top of the 9th inning. You get the single there, and then there's a wild pitch, and then there's a walk, and then Nolan Arenado comes up. He pushes Fonson to a full count. Diamondbacks were doing a good job laying off of stuff. Nolan Arenado on that 2-2 sweeper that just missed the outside corner. When he was in St. Louis, he swings to that pitch and misses it or rolls over on it every single time, stays away from it, doesn't swing, and ends up doubling on a sinker that was basically right down the middle to make it 1-0. Another single by Gurriel Jr. made it 3-0 when they had the infield in. Gordon Graceffo comes in. Things don't get much better. He gets an out, but then back-to-back walks for Gordon. And a pass ball on Jimmy Crooks makes it 4-0. A lot of criticism coming towards Jimmy Crooks for perhaps a lack of effort on the pass ball, just kind of made a stab at it instead of moving his feet and shifting his whole body in front of that. And when there's a runner on third, you can't half-ass that stuff. Like, you got to get over there. You got to knock that down. Can't let that ball get by you. Hopefully it's a learning moment for the young catcher. Cardinals do end up mounting a comeback, which they've been known to do this year. It was nice to see. Bottom half, they get a double by Newt, single by Fermin, double by Burley, sac fly by Blaze Jordan, RBI single by Jimmy Crooks, which sets up the showdown between J.J. Weatherholt and Brandon Garcia, the left-hander that they get to Paul Sewald. They knock him out of the game, the closer for the Diamondbacks, but they go lefty-lefty, and Garcia kind of carves up J.J., wins it with the sweeper, and ends the game. So top of the ninth, pretty gross. 3 hits, 3 walks, a wild pitch, a pass ball. Nasty business. And for a team that they're just not built to overcome stuff like that, right? Like, they almost have to play perfect. It seems like every small miscue or small thing that goes against them, it ruins everything, right? And if you had 3 hits, 3 walks, wild pitch, pass ball over 9 innings, maybe you could overcome all that. But in 1 inning, that's a tough sell. And the Cardinals were unable to do it. They did make it exciting, but in the end, they fall to the Diamondbacks by a score of 4-3. Up next, we'll talk about this press conference that the Cardinals have set to roll here today. We'll go into detail about what is deemed a press conference about the next generation of organizational leadership. Those are the words being used. What does that mean? We'll get into it next on Locked On Cardinals. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, the inbox overflowing, and the one position that you got to fill, it's still open. That's not good. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what it is you're looking for. Certain skills, certain experience, certain locations. You need all of that to come together, and that's what Indeed sponsored jobs is going to do. Find those people that check all those boxes, right? So you're not just hoping that the right candidate is just going to, oh my gosh, stumble across your post. You're going to go find these people. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all of those boxes that we were talking about. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. The listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. So go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast, Locked On Cardinals. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Get your daily Cardinals coverage completely ad-free by joining the Everydayer Club. You can do that today and start your 7-day free trial right now and get closer to your team without those interruptions. Just click the link in the show notes or go to LockedOnSTLCardinals.supercast.com to claim your free trial. So Tuesday night, we find out that the Cardinals are going to hold a press conference on Wednesday, so today, to talk about the direction of the organizational leadership. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I have some inside scoop on what ownership is doing or what they're planning, so we're going to go with the professionals, and that is our guy, Derek Gould, over at STL Today and the Post-Dispatch, who described the whole situation as this. Bill DeWitt III, let's put a picture of him up there. There's Dad, but let's put Bill DeWitt III is. Bill DeWitt III has taken on a more prominent and public role over the past several years, and that has included a larger presence in team press conferences as well as Major League Baseball meetings. The press conference Wednesday is expected to address his rising role with the club, according to multiple sources familiar with the team's discussions, and also any other promotions or changes planned within the leadership structure. From everything we've ever been told, it doesn't appear that they have any interest in selling the team. So for those of you that believe that the Cardinals are doomed because the DeWitts own them, they're not selling the team. At least we don't think so heading into this. Gould pointed out that during the winter warm-up, Bill DeWitt Jr., who is dad, who is currently in charge, talked about the future, saying, our family has been in baseball for a long time, and I think it will continue. That's the plan. I'm getting to an age where I'm not going to be around forever. Bill III is at a perfect age to continue on for a long time. That's our goal. We are baseball people. Third generation is here, and probably a fourth under him coming along somewhere. We are here. Now, Gould also said that the press conference was advertised as being about the business and the ownership side of the ball club, but it will also share similarities to the one the Cardinals had in late 2024 to announce Chaim Bloom taking over as president of baseball operations the following fall. He had a transition year before moving into the lead role. So, putting all of that together and using what brain power I have, what it feels to me is that perhaps this is just about a changing of the guard with Bill DeWitt III taking over for his father, how that's going to work, how the transition is going to be, how other members of the organization will be affected, promoted, who's going where, how's it shifting. That's what it feels like it's going to be today. All right, so we'll find out 1 p.m. St. Louis time exactly what goes down, but I don't suspect that it's going to be some sort of scary meeting where there's going to be selling and there's just going to be chaos. And no, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a planned meeting to say, hey, look, here's what we're going to do. All right. My father, God bless his soul. You know, he's older, can't quite give it the effort and the strength that it probably needs to run things the way it needs to be run. So here's how we're going to transition everything. And I only wish my name was DeWitt. I would love to get a chance to have a crack at the job, right? Wouldn't we all? My buddy said when he asked me about it earlier, and he's like, what's this all about? And he goes, and then when I explained it to him, he was like, man, must be nice to be just filthy rich. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, filthy rich is right, man. These guys are billionaires. And, you know, he started going, he was like, I didn't realize they were billionaires. I'm like, yeah. According to, like, if you look up the worth of the DeWitts, they're, you know, worth like $4 billion, but they don't run their team like they're billionaires. They run the team like it's a business. And that's what kind of drives people nuts, is that they spend the money that they make with the team. They spend that on the team, but they don't like pull from their other resources to put more money into the team, which drives people nuts from time to time, because we've heard in the past when the Cardinals are talking about money, well, like, oh, can we afford this guy? And then you hear other executives around the league say things like, the Cardinals can go buy anything they want. They are super rich, but they don't run it that way. And we'll see how I'm more interested. Like, okay, so if Bill DeWitt III's taken it, I'm interested in how things are going to change with the CBA. Like when that gets figured out, hopefully sooner rather than later. I would hate the way that the game is right now, and with the momentum that the game has, like Major League Baseball in general. Gosh, having a work stoppage just is really going to really suck, right? Like you've got everything going in the right direction right now. People are loving the game. People are enjoying coming out to the ballparks. You're seeing attendance rise in a lot of places, and for there to be a work stoppage is really going to be tough to overcome. But I'm curious how they spend money after that all gets figured out, whenever it gets figured out. So something that the Cardinals did figure out is what to do with Chris Roycroft, and that era has mercifully come to an end. Nolan Gorman was back in a game lineup playing for the Memphis Redbirds and on Tuesday. So we'll talk about how things went with him, and we'll get a look at the NL Central to see where the Cardinals stand as far as the standings, wild card, all that jazz. All of it coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. ED is way more common than most guys think. Millions of guys deal with it at some point, and that's exactly why HIMS offers a straightforward way to handle it. HIMS connects you with licensed healthcare providers online, giving you access to legitimate ED treatment options from the comfort of your home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines, just straightforward process that makes it easier to take care of yourself, which is the whole idea. The process is simple. You complete a quick online intake, a provider reviews your information, and if the treatment is right for you, it's going to ship directly to your door. It's in discreet packaging. Nobody's going to see it, know what the heck's going on with you. Makes the whole experience just feel more private, feels more stress-free. It's straightforward. It's transparent. It's designed to make getting care feel easy, which is what we want. We don't want it to be a hassle. We don't want it to be embarrassing. We want to get what we need and move on with our lives. And to get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for things like ED and hair loss and weight loss and more, visit hims.com/lockedonmlb. That's hims.com/lockedonmlb for your free online visit. hims.com/lockedonmlb. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is the generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris Specialty LLC. Hims is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris. Today's show also brought to you by Odoo. Running a business, it shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. You know, one app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. Not a great way to go about business, right? And that's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform, from sales and accounting to inventory and marketing. Everything is going to work in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success, it isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working toward the same goal. It's true in sports just like it is in business. This whole Cardinals operation, or any sports operation, it wouldn't work if everybody's going in a different direction and nobody's on what we like to say, the same page. You got to be on the same page. You got to have a common goal, and you have to have a common idea of how you're going to reach those goals. It's something that the Cardinals feel like they have in place right now, and it's why things are going as well as they are so far in 2026 during this rebuild season. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try it for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. So the Cardinals made a trade. It wasn't like this super exciting trade by any means, but it was a trade. They decided to deal after DFAing Chris Roycroft. Tuesday, they sent Chris to the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for a player to be named later, or our star cash considerations, which I will never, ever, ever get over this card slash picture. I don't even know who that is in the picture, but it's hilarious. So if you're watching on video, you see what I'm talking about. I also tweeted it out in case you're only listening to the audio version. But Chris Roycroft, no longer a member of the Cardinals organization. He's off to Tampa Bay. Finally, and I hope I don't have to eat these words, the Roycroft runway has officially run out. He's off to the sunny state of Florida to try and further his baseball career. The fact that the Cardinals stuck with him as long as they did, to me, shows extreme patience in my eyes. I would have gotten rid of him a long time ago. There was nothing that I saw at the major league level that made me want to keep this dude around. And I realize, you know, he's a specimen. He's big, he's tall, he's long, got a lot of movement on that sinker. And the tools seem like they were something like, if Chris Roycroft was a piece of clay, that you could mold him into something that was going to be decent. We saw glimpses of that back in 2024 in the minor leagues and then a little bit in the major leagues. But the last couple seasons have been awful, just awful. And I just don't know how many times you could keep bringing him up, sending him down, bringing him up, sending him down, and expecting something to change, because it never did. It never did. And it was time to let someone else have a chance. And that person ends up being Max Ratchick, who was your former minor league pitcher of the year, and not some dude that you found in his mid-20s in the Frontier League. Like, the fact that they just kept sticking with him, I was like, I don't know what they see that is so special. Like, if there were better results, I don't know, man. It never seemed like it clicked. It just didn't. And we've seen this for 3 years, and for bullpen arms, too. This is not like some guy who was in the rotation. And you're like, all right, well, hold on. This is a bullpen arm, and we know how quickly you can move on from bullpen arms. And for whatever reason, they wanted to hang on to him to see if they could fix this, and it never worked. It was a move that, in my opinion, was long overdue. Best of luck in Tampa Bay to Chris Roycroft. And again, like I said, I hope I don't eat these words where Tampa Bay ends up fixing him and turning him into something special, because they've been known to do stuff like that. Although I will point out they were not able to fix Dylan Carlson after he went to the Tampa Bay Rays. So maybe their magic of doing that. Well, no, they've done pretty good work with Steven Matz. Although Steven Matz wasn't garbage here in St. Louis either. He just had to stay healthy. Nolan Gorman was back in the Memphis lineup. We know that, he got sent down and went down to Florida, kind of work on the swing, get in the lab a little bit, see what they could do. They finally put him into a lineup. And before you start laughing after you hear the results, understand that this is a work in progress. It's going to take some time to get him going, if they ever get him going, in the right direction again. First 4 at-bats for Memphis on Tuesday night, Nolan Gorman struck out 4 straight times. But ended on a good one. Did have an RBI single on his final at bat. So, same thing as it applies when you're out hitting golf balls. End on a good one. And Nolan Gorman was able to do that. Nobody's trying to root against Nolan Gorman. Nobody wants to see him fail. At least I don't think so. At least the majority of the fan base doesn't want to see him fail. But he's got a long way to go. And just do your thing. And it's funny looking at the Memphis roster, like how many guys started the season up with the Cardinals and are down there trying to get right. Victor Scott is down there. He was 0 for 4 with 2 Ks last night. Thomas Ujasi was 0 for 5 last night. Gorman 1 for 5 with 4 Ks. Teen Kent's threw a clean inning, so that was cool. My guy Luis Gastelum, another shutout inning, hasn't been scored upon since May 17th. Keep it going, Luis. I can't wait till he gets to the show. I want to see that change up so bad. No Joshua Baez in the lineup on Sunday or on Tuesday, but he was in the lineup on Sunday. Hit his 25th home run, was 2 for 5, 3 RBIs. So I guess just a rest day for Baez, I assume. Mason Wynn did not play last night. He was out of the lineup, had some thumb irritation, considered day-to-day. So we'll see how that changes. But that was a late scratch where Burley had to go in and play, and Weatherholt shifted over to shortstop, and they had to move some pieces around. But obviously Mason Wynn being in that lineup is huge, especially when you had to face a lefty last night in Eduardo Rodriguez. So that sucked. They do have a lefty against them tonight. NL Central standings, though, let's talk about that real quick. Brewers shut out the Reds 2-0. They've now won 3 in a row. They're 6 games up on the Cardinals in the division. I had people asking me last night, what are the Cardinals going to have to do to catch them? And pray was my answer. The Brewers are one of the most boring teams in baseball to watch when, like, Mizrowski's not on the mound. Like, they're so boring, but they just win. That's what they do. They make it look so simple that, okay, this is how you win. And they go out and do it. I don't think the Cardinals are going to catch them. I think the Brewers are going to run away with this division and continue this, barring any, major setbacks with guys like Miz or Harrison. Like, they just got Brandon Woodruff back. He looked great in his first start against the Reds since coming back. So, yeah, it ain't going to be easy. I don't think they are. Now I'm more paying attention to the people who are behind the Cardinals, like the Cubs, who beat the Mets 9-6. PCA continues his torrid hitting right now, 17th home run of the season. PCA's got 17 bombs right now. 3-run shot. Dansby Swanson drove in 4. They just beat the hell out of Kodai Senga, who's now 0-6 and's got an ERA over 10. What the hell happened to this guy? Like, he was God's gift to pitching 2 years ago, and it is just gone. Crazy. Cubs are a game and a half back of St. Louis right now in the division. Pirates fall to the Mariners 3-2. Kyle Raleigh hits his 8th home run of the season, but is batting just 164. The guy hit 247 with 60 bombs and 125 ribbies last year. And right now, on June 24th, he's at 164, 8 dingers, and 21 RBIs. Talk about a drop-off. That's massive. Reds, as I mentioned, shut out at home by the Brewers, 2-0, despite the return of Ellie De La Cruz to the lineup. They're now 4 games under 500, just 17-30 since the end of April. Tonight, it's Matthew Liberatore on the mound for the Cardinals. As I mentioned, Cardinals are going to face another lefty, 22-year-old Mitch Bratt is going to get the start, making his major league debut for Arizona. 5th-round pick of the Rangers in 21. One of 3 players that the Diamondbacks acquired when they traded Merrill Kelly to the Rangers at last year's deadline. Ended up re-signing him this offseason, which we just got to see him in game 1 of the series. Not overpowering stuff at all. 4-seamer, sinker, both averaging between 90 and 91 miles per hour. But all Cardinals fans will tell you, oh, crap, a soft tossing left-hander making his debut. We're screwed. We are screwed. It just seems like it rarely mixes well with the Cardinals and that profile of a pitcher. So hopefully it turn things around. Be nice to have Mason Wynn back in the lineup and get all those righties going. But you got to stay back. Scoot up in the box. Stay back. Hammer this kid, all right? Can't keep dumping games to lesser teams, especially a team that's like the Diamondbacks, who I don't think are a bad team, but they're just a much worse team on the road. You got to win this series, especially when you've got this July gauntlet on the horizon where you're going to have to face the Braves, the Cubs, and the Brewers a bunch of times in a row. You got 5 against the Brewers. You got 6 against the Braves. Then you got the cut. That is going to be crazy in the first weeks of July before the All-Star break. So got to win these teams against these teams that you should be beating at this point. Got to get it done because that's going to be rough right there. I'm prepare yourself for the worst when July starts. Anyway, thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Help our channel Love for the Cardinals grow if you never miss an episode. The Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Cardinals ad-free, members-only Discord access, and more. Head to LockedOnSTLCardinals.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we'll send you to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On the audio side, make your second listen Locked On MLB. You're the best fans in baseball for Rez. Let's go get another dub tonight. Thanks for watching and listening to Locked On Cardinals.